this is going to be a relatively short one, but it'll be a little bit too long for just a YouTube short or a TikTok. So I would like everyone to be introduced to this lovely little ball python named Utah. Again, sticking with kind of the theme that it's becoming relatively obvious where it came from. Now, this is actually the very first pied ball python that I ever got. So this was in, the first couple years of me starting to acquire ball pythons. It fell right into that timeline of the boas were kind of having that whole mess that I was dealing with and getting into breeding the ball python morphs, and obviously who doesn't love a pied? Utah is a relatively low-ish white pied, nice good side underbelly, but then actually on the dorsal side there's not a whole lot of white to Utah. Now, Utah was a small collection acquisition that was a Craigslist acquisition, so I'll admit to that, just like a lot of people have done in the past and probably still do, where I went down, and actually this was in Pueblo when I still lived in Denver. I met up, got Utah, got a couple other ball pythons, as well as they were really trying really hard to get me to get their sand boa, which physically left the tub and bit my chest getting caught on my shirt. I've never had a snake ever do that. Still hasn't happened since, and it's absolutely insane, but I decided not to take the sand boa home. Ended up with Utah, bringing it home. As the years have gone on and whittled by, the only one left from that collection that we still have is Utah here. Now, we got Utah under the impression that it was a male. It had locked with a supposed het-pied female normal. But as the years went on, I would continuously try to pair this one up with a Mystic Potion that was pos het-pied, other het-pied females, other females in general that I wanted to put pied to. And they would just always sit there until one day when I was essentially going to try to take this guy as well as another pied, Seattle, who is another male, more mid to high white pied, who is a proven breeder. He's a great stud in our collection. I essentially put them in there together so the males would kind of combat it out. It's not really a huge thing with ball pythons. It's much more prevalent in other genuses like Liasis and different pythons like that. But it's something that can happen. So I went, we'll see if we combat the males, it can kind of stimulate the female a little bit more. And then I go in there. I'm not seeing the typical combating thing that has come to my attention multiple times in the past, where, oh, hey, this is supposedly female, I put a male in there, and then they're combating because they're both boys. But they weren't doing that, and so I go in there and I see the male, the first male, locked up with this one, and then the girl that I was trying to have is over in the corner. So it turns out Utah, purchased as a male low white pied, is in fact a female. He wasn't just a useless breeder, he was really a girl. And since then, she's actually produced her very first clutch of eggs. Unfortunately, she was paired to Griff, who we introduced earlier in the series, who is the albino pos het-pied, and I got a really great, perfect clutch of 11 eggs, and every single one was normal double het. So, as I mentioned previously, Griff gets one more shot with another female that's a pied 100% het albino, and Utah here, who immediately went back on food. I'm debating whether or not she will be breeding this year, or I will do like a lot of my females, skip this year, and she'll be paired up next year. But just really wanted to introduce you to the kind of funny, dumb backstory that happens to a lot of newbies when it very first comes into getting into this hobby, especially when they're trying to breed ball pythons, and talk about this absolutely amazing and beautiful little female ball python named Utah. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please check out the full playlist of all of my other animals. Any other questions, comments, concerns, let me know down in the comments. And as always, hope you enjoyed the video, and we will check you next time.